Ms. Howard, do you have any reports?
Just that, I guess with the cold weather today, it reminds us that the holidays are not too far away, and the Human Services Department has released the request for people to participate in the holiday gift drive. So you'll hear that from me from now. I know. It seems early, but I think maybe it was timed at the cold weather. So people can go on the Human Services Department website. Last year, over 100 kids in need applied, and members of the community were very, very generous in giving. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Miller?
We had a kickoff meeting today for the solar array on top of the top deck of the Spring Street garage with representatives from the library, who will be the client for the power generated from the solar array, and with our consultants who will be working with us on developing the request for procurement and helping us with the evaluation of the results that we receive when we get our proposals back. As you all recall, the plan is that we will take a preliminary look at the viability of the project when we receive the proposals, and then come back to council for a go, no-go decision on proceeding with the project. At this point, it looks as if perhaps the first quarter of next year, 2017, we will be looking at proposals and coming back to council, making a recommendation to you on go, no-go for the project.
Yeah, I'd like to report, I sent out something to most council people in regard to the Unity Walk that we had on Saturday. We left here, the municipal building, at 11 o'clock, roughly 65 people, and we walked up, and Brett Bonfield from the library joined us, and Tim Quinn, they were there. It was a beautiful time. We walked up to the Nassau Hall University and then came back to the library, and we had three panel discussions. One was a mayoral panel that our own mayor, Liz Lampert, served on, and then we had a professional panel and a youth panel. And I would like to say it was a very nice experience. One, to see the diversity in the community, and two, to be part of a community that respects and appreciates diversity. So I really, really enjoyed it. And Tatiana Sims, along with the library and Corner House and our police department and some other folks, did a great job in organizing it. So just want to thank you for that.
Thank you. Ms. Butler?
Thank you. Heather may be talking about the holidays, but I'm still talking about the pool. We've spent about the last 6 weeks going through a process of elimination. I think I mentioned it maybe in the spring that we thought we had a possible leak in the dive well, and then thought we had it fixed over the summer until we were looking at the water bills. And in fact, there does seem to be a problem, and it's going to be somewhat significant, but I think it will be, the Rec Commission will absorb the cost, but it does mean that we're going to be taking out some cement blocks near the dive well, and it appears there's a line down there that may be leaking or something. So we're continuing to work on that. And also, so the pool complex is not closed up, although they've been working full-time, 2 or 3 staffers, since Labor Day to winterize the facility. It's a slow process. I also want to mention that the Mary Moss subcommittee met with Leighton and Shirley. We had a really good meeting last week, I guess it was. Was that last week? To start talking about some signage and whatnot, commemoration of Mary Moss in the park. And I think we had, everybody left there very enthusiastic about the possibilities. And the Mary Moss subcommittee will be going to the HBC on the 19th of October, 17th, for a no obligations review from them. And I think we've put out a few things that we hope they can be helpful. And otherwise, the recreation fall and winter activities brochure is online, and people should sign up now.
Thank you, Simon. I just have a couple reports. The first is Almost 2 weeks ago, we had the kickoff meeting for the Neighborhood Character and Zoning Initiative. I think most members of council were there, but that initiative is underway, and the next step will be putting together some more focused meetings with groups of local architects, meeting with our relevant boards and commissions, and also meeting with residents. So keep your ear out for those meetings. Also, we launched with the Greater Mercer TMA, a Safe Streets program. The kickoff was at the farmers market last week, and you'll see signs around town. We have a lot of local shops participating, and it's an education campaign aimed at drivers, pedestrian, bicyclists, pretty much everybody who is on the roads, crossing the roads, walking on the roads, to just be mindful of speed limits, use the crosswalks, take your eyes up off your cell phones and look at where you're going, so everybody can be safer. And the police are helping with that too, and you'll probably see police, they're walking Nassau Street and other areas downtown to help with the education campaign. And then finally, at Marquand Park, they've unveiled just a really sweet little library. These are popping up all over town, but the one at Marquand is really special. It was built inside of the old stump that is on the entrance right out of the parking lot, and it's gorgeous. And the library is helping to keep it stocked with donations they receive of excess children's books. And I especially recommend checking it out if you have a small child who can fit inside of it. I think the rest of us are too big, but I just want to thank the Marquand Park Foundation and Bob Wells, who had the vision for it. It's a really wonderful addition to town. And are there any staff reports? Ms. Stockton?
Good evening. Snowden Lane Sanitary Sewer is progressing. On Wednesday, our contractor will be working at the intersection of Snowden and Van Dyke to install a manhole that was scheduled to accommodate the day off of school. And then he'll be looking to proceed up north on Snowden. Work is progressing pretty well. The water company has been delayed in finishing up the last of the water connections to the private properties, but they will be back shortly to do that. Our other contractor, S. Brothers, will be working on Pardo Road and North Road this week. North Road was in need of repair, and we had some contingency left in our project, so we were able to allocate funds to do a short repair of North Road that exceeded the abilities of what Public Works could do to stabilize it for the winter. We had good news that the governor will be signing the gas tax, and the way that I understand the wording of the timing.
It's sort of good from a transportation perspective.
Yes, that's true. It's good in terms of getting our money on grants, but the way that I understand the wording is that it will either go into effect November 1st or 2 weeks from when the governor signs, whichever is later. So we've been looking at different contingency plans with Valley Road. I know we had talked about just waiting until next year, but we are also looking at a contingency plan of milling and putting the base layer of asphalt in on the roadway before December, and then holding off until the spring to do the top course. So that's one contingency plan that we may put into effect depending on when the legislation actually goes into effect. We also are putting out a parking RFP, request for proposals, this week. Will be advertised in the papers. This is related to our federal grant that we got through the Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission, and we'll expect to get proposals back from interested firms at the beginning of November. So we would look to evaluate those, negotiate for the contract, and hopefully be to council early December with that to award.
Terrific, thank you. Any other staff reports? Okay.
I'm sorry, I forgot one thing. I'm sorry, Mayor. I'm sorry. We did have a, Councilwoman Cormiller was not here, but we did have a wrap-up, community wrap-up meeting with various members of the business community and our council in regard to the pros and cons of this community university that we had. And we'll be bringing back some ideas to you in regard to financing. As you know, Ms. Cormiller brought up the notion that the municipality had to pay so many dollars in order to fund community university. So we're trying to find a way to alleviate some of the financial burden on the municipality. So we did meet and discuss that. I forgot to mention that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Now we can move on to our work session.